Well, it was our first big snowstorm of the year. Alright, well, here's the front. See the steps, you can barely see where the edge of the steps are at the bottom. There's the front deck. I didn't get to fold the chairs up yet. Good thing I got the Christmas decorations up, the lights up before the snowstorm. Well, since today's kind of a snow day and there's nothing really else to do today, we're stuck inside the house, I thought I might as well do a little video on this what I believe is a 1927 very rare Canadian model Westinghouse radiola receiver. It's kind of like one of those RCA radiola type things, if you will. And it works. It just has very distorted audio. I played around with it. I swapped tubes around in it a couple nights ago, and then last night I did my final step of diagnosis, and I took a speaker I have for another one of these old radios. It's the same kind of speaker. It's the Model 100B loudspeaker from my RCA Radiola 33, and hooked it up, and it turns out that there's nothing wrong with the radio internally. It's the speaker that is the fault. So I don't know if it's a ripped speaker cone. It might be. I'll turn it on and let you hear what it sounds like. This radio, by the way, is on the dial. It's not a frequency scale. It's just a logging scale. So it goes from 1 to 100. So say like 630 Ched or whatever is on would be on channel 75. You'd write that down as being on channel 5. 930 CJCA would be on 930 kilohertz would be on channel 30. You write that down so you remember where each station is on the dial. So turn on the pilot light. I don't know if it's the original pilot light or not. It looks like it because it looks fairly old. Still works. And that's what the audio sounds like. I know for this time period, loudspeakers weren't, high quality hi-fi. They were good audio quality for its time, and but this one you can tell is definitely has issues. Whether it's something to do with the voice coil on the speaker or the cone is ripped, I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if this table originally came with this model radio. By the way, I forgot to mention what this model radio is. It looks to be a lot like a RCA Radiola 17, which dates back to 1927. It's impressive that this radio is like 94 years old, and it's still perfectly working. It's still in working condition for the most part, except for the speaker. But the fact that nothing in the radio is wrong electronically, and that it's still in the cosmetics of it, I mean, it's in beautiful condition. But just the audio there's 880. And the weird thing is, if I bought if I push around the power switch, it'll change the sound of the audio. It'll sound a little more bass intensive. So if I turn up the volume, So, the hell, I don't know why.
I got this morning. Way to go!
Okay, so here's what we got. This is a Peerless brand model Series B. I don't remember I think it's model 7-B or something. Magnetic reproducer or speaker, and so we're just going to go ahead and open it up. Right, so here's the inside of the speaker. I believe, I don't know if these are capacitors or what these are. You gotta love this, let me get a close-up of this. Gotta love the you gotta love the horseshoe magnet, right? There's no real date code on this or anything. Let me grab what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab the multimeter and ohm this out, see what it does. Okay, I don't know if I was recording that. If I turn the damn camera on. It seems to be okay. Okay. Don't know if you can hear the audio, but some copyright-free music rolling. It's hard to see the connection, but it's there. Just this phone adapter. And this is something my dad made back in the day, this little phono connector. Okay, so I'm gonna try this speaker in the Radiola 33, RCA Radiola 33. So let's. And the volume control is as you can tell, and the volume control doesn't work on this one, as you can tell. It needs to be fixed. But
now or I don't play, and we lose the game. The fiery coach had no choice. Well, they won the game. And gear anymore. So his coach told them to take it off, and they promptly lost the next game. The next night, Jacques started wearing it again, permanently. And years after Jacques Paul backstopped the Montreal Canadiens to a 5th straight Stanley Cup, it is mandatory that every player in Jacques' position wears one. The goalie mask. The goalie mask is a great idea. Jacques, do you have a great idea? Do something about it. I'm glad.
So, as you can hear when I put my hand on the cone, it stops the, all the vibrating. There's something wrong with the, maybe that's what the wood is here for, to put pressure on the cone like that. And I'm barely touching it though with my hand. I'm just barely pressing it and it'll... Something up with the positioning of this cone. Let's check it out. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I pulled this off extremely carefully so I didn't rip or damage the cone at all. A little bit of it came off, but it's still fine. This needs to be re-glued. You can see River glued these pieces. They glued them here for a reason, to add pressure to the cone so that it would give out the right tonal qualities. And the glue kind of dried up around the edge, so what I would do is glue it and then push it back, both on the left side here and on the bottom. And it seems to sound good there. So I got some Gorilla Glue, some super glue. We're going to glue it, we're going to let it dry. I don't think this is the kind of thing where I need to wait, you know, like a couple hours for it to dry or whatever. Or figure out how to get it out of the bottle because the glue on the outside of the bottle is dried up and stuck to the plastic. Oh, okay, never mind, maybe it wasn't that stuck. So let's that paper towel in case of any spillage or I have to wipe up anything. Let's so
It's 1-800-569-5959.
sounding better.
Well, I'm sure it's no shocker to you that the holidays are upon us. But how could we make
So
a
there's all this the
holiday
positioning
without
of the
more than
cone.
just pumpkin spice latte or peppermint mocha,
Right
as
here and
yummy
right
as those
here.
things are? That's what Barbara Ring.
Final deadline just 3 days away. Be mighty. Order now at mightymillionslottery.com. 5 o'clock. In Ojibwe, the word Ombaguse means to start an uproar. And it's exactly what Anishinaabe artist Adam Sturgeon and Daniel Monkman
That's CBC Radio 1.
own solo projects, but they're now putting those talents.
6:30. Chad should be the net right there.
All right, a little bit there from Ken Holland on the Mike Smith injury and the ongoing impact with the goaltending. Mikko Kosta is going to be your goalie this evening. A former goalie, now our play-by-play voice, Cam Moon, ready to go in Winnipeg. Mooner, what's going on, buddy?
Oh, happy to be in Winnipeg, Reed. Let me tell you right now.
So that's just to let the glue dry, and then put the speaker back in underneath in the cabinet.
Dr. Hinshaw said provincial health officials had to look at the whole health picture, considering
Making its National Homemade Bread Day. So wanted to find out just how are you.
Well, so the speaker has been, the glue in the speaker has been drying for a day and one night now. And I think it's pretty dry, so we can go ahead and reinstall it underneath the table. Try to see if we can reassemble it. It might be hard to a little harder to reassemble it than it was to disassemble it. We'll find out.
And so, do you play this in your head the moment when that mudslide slammed into you?
Yeah, I can hear the sound of it hitting my car.
Releasing. So if you're waiting for Halo Infinity, wait no longer. You can get in.
Well, I think that that'll end this video right here. We didn't successfully fix our tripod. So that's the end of this video. This will probably be a Friday night video. So that's the 19th of November, Friday, November 19th, 2021. edit this tomorrow, but that's sounds pretty good.
The 20th anniversary celebration is Monday.
So it was all just the speaker cone being out of shape. And by the way, I did find some service info on the other RCA speaker. If I could find it here. Here it is. Some other, you can't really see it, some other service info on the other loudspeaker. And it does mention in the manual somewhere about the distorted audio output being caused by the cone not being the cone being out of shape or not positioned properly.
Doing better, Sony with the play.
Okay, so here's the manual for the other speaker I found on all the stuff that I found on worldradiohistory.org. These RCA manuals, these older RCA manuals from like the 20s, 30s, late 20s to mid 30s, and it's all on World Radio History. They're great. They have almost all the riders, I think, too, riders manuals and schematics. If you go there and type in riders, service notes, or RCA service notes, or whatever, they have it all. It's like an entire library of schematics and service information for free. You can download a PDF file and print it out. But yeah, definitely check that out if you're looking for service info, worldradiohistory.org. But let me try to find the troubleshooting page where it mentions the cone. Okay, distorted or noisy reproduction, or rattle, which is what we kind of had. We kind of had like a rattling sound. Distorted output from receiver. We did the diagnosis before this video. We found it wasn't the receiver, of course. Improperly adjusted cone. Adjust cone correctly. See Part 1, Section 5, Part 2, Section 5. Alright, cone improperly seated. In order to inspect the cone, it is necessary to remove the mechanism assembly from the front, blah 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 blah. Remove the back, sides, and top as described in Part 1, Section 2. Remove the 3 screws that hold the mechanism to the front of the housing. Be careful to support these. The cone may be off-center or improperly seated. This most likely to occur when replacing the cone. Poor reproduction is the result. An inspection of the armature drive pin may indicate a slight torque or twist during operation. The new cone should be, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but you can pause it to read that if you want. The nice thing about these RCA manuals is they're very in detail and very illustrated. Very detailed and very illustrated service manuals that they made back in the late 20s, early 30s for stuff like this. All the modern stuff is just a couple pages long, maybe 2-3 pages long, a schematic and maybe disassembly and assembly instructions, or in a wiring diagram maybe, and that's about it. But back then they were very detailed. And the RCA loudspeaker, the RCA speaker has the same cone as the Peerless speaker did. So this is tightening the cone. There is clamp screws, and I looked for that on the speaker that we worked on in the came out of the Westinghouse. I couldn't find. They were all just screwed into and they were screwed in all the way tight. So I don't know if the box that the speaker was built to be placed in was like a homemade thing, or was it an actual, like, came from a manufacturer? I don't know. Because it's weird that they would use the wood blocks to put pressure on the cone rather than having the screws to screw it down to put pressure on the cone. as you see with most manufacturing like this one. So I don't know, maybe that was like a homemade thing, a homemade speaker. I don't know. I've seen though that model, those Peerless models online on like radiomuseum.com and such, but yeah. You even have instructions in here and replacing the cone. Alright, well, more to come, lots more to come, stay tuned. Yeah. 73s.